Today, I can announce a central plank in our economic recovery plan, and that's the first tranche of projects that will be fast-tracked through the RMA. It will mean that projects which are already funded can get underway quickly, providing jobs and stimulus across the country. To briefly recap before I hand to the Minister, at the end of April, Cabinet agreed to special legislation to support New Zealand's recovery from the economic impacts of COVID-19. Legislation to fast-track resource consenting and designations so that infrastructure projects can gain approval as soon as possible, faster than the standard RMA process, and start providing job opportunities as a result. Notified consents generally take about 4 to 6 months. Fast-tracking will see them take about 45 to 70 days. In fact, as Minister Parker will outline shortly, some transport projects will now be able to start 1 to 2 years sooner under the fast-track measure. The COVID-19 Recovery Fast-Track Consenting Bill 2020 will be introduced this week. The bill lists 11 projects that will go directly to an expert panel for consideration, but with the expectation that they progress at pace, and then further projects can be brought to the Minister for the Environment and confirmed through orders in council. The first projects have been chosen because they are ready to go, provide at least 1,200 jobs, and because they align with the long-term challenges the government has already was taking on before COVID arrived in housing, the environment and transport.
We're expecting the bill to have its first reading this week, followed by a short select committee process reporting back to the House if the House agrees by 29 June. Once the bill passes, these listed projects, the first track, fast track projects if you like, will be referred directly to expert consenting panels who are chaired by an Environment Court judge. That panel will set appropriate conditions on the projects before they can proceed. There will be the opportunity for further projects beyond those named projects, and that's from the second track. And that applies to applications that can be made by other public entities or private entities to use the fast-track process. We're looking forward to a number of projects coming forward from a range of people and organisations, including district and regional councils, iwi authorities, NGOs and the private sector. Applicants will be required to provide information to me as Minister on how each project meets the criteria specified in the bill. Projects that are selected will then be passed to the panel for consideration, and that process is given effect to via order in council. And the third part of this process legislation is the ability for Waikato Kotahi NZ Transport Agency and Kiwi Rail Holdings to undertake repair, maintenance and minor upgrade works on their existing infrastructure in road and rail corridors as a permitted activity subject to certain performance criteria. As the Prime Minister's already said, notified applications for resource consents take around 4 to 6 months to process, depending on the complexity and the level of contention involved. Appeals to the Environment Court after council hearings can take a year or more. In contrast, the new fast-track processes are likely to take 45 to 70 working days. Some transport projects, as a consequence, will be able to start for up to 2 years sooner under the fast-track measure on conditions set by the panel. I would stress that while extraordinary times require extraordinary measures, positive environmental outcomes and treaty relationships won't be sacrificed at the expense of speed. While these projects are being advanced in time, environmental safeguards remain, including Part 2 of the RMA and things like matters of national importance. These will all continue to apply. Similarly, the principles of Te Tiriti of Waitangi and treaty settlement obligations will apply to all projects under the bill. The 11 projects range from the Kaikui water storage project, some housing projects in Auckland, Queenstown, for example, Papakāinga network developments, some rail projects which I won't list, and a couple of cycleways which are listed as well.